In 2014, as Flint was facing a massive budget crisis, city and state officials saw their local river water as a way to cut costs. After 50 years of buying water from Detroit, they flipped the switch and Flint river water began flowing through the city's aging pipes.
That river has been an industrial dumping ground for 75 plus years.
Zip it up, but...
After the switch, my family started experiencing rashes. We started noticing some hair loss. My oldest son, they thought he had cancer.
10 months after the switch, Leanne finally convinced the city to test her water, which had begun flowing brown from the tap. They found lead levels as high as 700 parts per billion. The maximum allowed by the EPA is 15. Lead is a dangerous neurotoxin that can lead to profound developmental disorders in children.
When my children were finally tested, I came back that my son had lead poisoning. My legs gave out. I had to grab my kitchen counter. And then it was like a nervous breakdown in my kitchen.
First one on my list.
Other people in the community were having similar health issues. But the city insisted the problem was isolated to Leanne's home.
It was very obvious that we were being lied to. We as a group started organizing to let people know what was going on. Anybody with discolored water, get your water tested. Thank you. My husband had said to me, there's all this physical evidence. Nobody's doing anything to help us. How do we make them hear us? And so we decided to get to the science of it because you can't argue with science.
Leanne began researching water chemistry and communicating with the EPA regulation manager, Miguel Del Toro. What they uncovered was stunning. Flint wasn't using federally mandated corrosion controls that prevent lead from leaching off pipes into the water supply.
Miguel was like, oh my God, they're breaking a federal law. There are no corrosion controls. I said, well, that's what I thought.
Okay. My family and I drink the water every day, so.
But city, state, and federal officials continued to deny that Flint had a citywide lead problem.
Where do you go when the federal government is no longer helping protect people like they should? So here's where the filter is.
Miguel put Leanne in touch with Virginia Tech professor Mark Edwards, a top lead expert.
I had called Mark Edwards in tears saying, we can't sit by and watch everybody's children be poisoned. We can't allow this to happen. And from that, Mark came up with us doing a citizen testing.
In a community-wide effort, the residents of Flint set out to test their water with the goal of collecting 75 to 100 samples.
And Mark never dreamed we would get him back 277 kicks. But that's just the nature of me. We need to have this going.
Leanne was amazing at keeping everybody headed the right direction, keeping everything scientifically correct so we could get the answers we had to have.
The test showed that 1 in 6 homes had lead levels exceeding EPA standards. The water in Leanne's home tested as high as 13,000 parts per billion. That's 2 times hazardous waste levels.
Our worst fear became the reality that Flint was experiencing one of the worst environmental crimes in U.S. history.
In response, the city switched back to Detroit water, and Michigan's governor declared a state of emergency.
Safe, clean source of water.
Today, Leanne is working to change the EPA's federal lead and copper rule to improve testing standards.
We need this to happen now, not 10 years from now.
Thank you.
Where's it going to? That is my personal mission, to make sure that this gets changed. So what happened to my family and my community never happens to anybody else again.
For outstanding environmental achievement for North America, the 2018 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to Leanne Walters, Flint, Michigan.